Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to the 43rd episode of the SparkCast. Joining me today is Thomas from Team Dakota.
Hey guys, how you doing?
So, something happened last week, and it was kind of a big deal. What was that?
Just this little thing called Conker.
So, how'd
That's
that
it.
go?
It went really well. Glad there was no like craziness on launch day. We were, of course, like nervous about just everything and making sure like the release went smoothly. And I think we pulled it off pretty good. For we rang. It came out at like 9 a.m. So we had like the whole day to kind of be ready since we would be like in the office for that. And uh, it actually we rang the bell when it went out live, and it was pretty great.
Good deal. So, I know you can't say, like, sales figures or anything like that, but is there any indication, like, as far as what your expectations were, if I can say the words? Like, did it meet your expectations as far as sales go, or
Yeah, I mean, right, like I can't talk numbers or anything, but it definitely, I think it's doing pretty well as a pack for sure.
good deal? And the
We're
reviews
we're
were
pretty
pretty
stoked
positive
with
as
it.
well.
Say that one more time.
The reviews were pretty positive as well.
Yeah, so what we were kind of finding is like anybody who was able to make it through the experience and didn't run into any issues, they really liked it. They thought it was true to Conquer. Um, you know, it was basically the only complaint from those people were like, "Oh, it's too short. I wish it was longer." But they definitely enjoyed it. They liked how there was like varied gameplay within it. Um, so those are all good things. And then there was the other camp that either ran into like a bug or something like that. That potentially stopped progress. Which that's obviously super unfortunate, and we don't want that. And it's just bugs that bugs get missed, and so we're working on it. We're really pleased to let you guys know that we're gonna push a fix on Thursday, so that's tomorrow, out, and it won't be like an update to Project Spark. It'll just be an update on our end, like server wise, for the level that should fix a lot of those basically game ending blocks that people had.
Right.
So once those, we'll when we get those out there, we're gonna be a lot stoked and hopefully cover almost all of those issues that people are running into. There was like an issue with people who the key wouldn't spawn at the end of the shooting gallery area where you get the two SMGs. And that was just basically if you ended up dying in the last, basically if you died like on the last enemy alive or something like that, just the way it was thinking when it spawned the key. There was also like if you got thrown crazy by the Teddy's abomination, it took fall down damage. If that was like the case, you would a lot of times get spawned, but like no health, so you just like be in an endless death loop.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, so obviously those aren't great experiences, and on top of it, right? So it's like an hour-long game, but we're not utilizing like level linking in it or checkpoints. Like as soon as you like leave it, there's no save progress. Um, so right, so if you hit one of those, you have to like start from the beginning, which is we expect most people to just go all the way through it in one go. But yeah, so that is really unfortunate, and it's terrible. We don't want anybody to have that experience. So that's why we prioritized a bunch of those bugs, and we're getting out a fix on Thursday.
Yeah, I did see there was a small patch today. Is that related to the Conquer fixes?
There's a patch today.
Yeah, some people were reporting there was like a 28 megabyte update or something.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So it's a mystery. We'll
We
find out
might have
sometime.
had a 28 megabytes.
Something like that.
Like really tiny. We did have a server thing in earlier in the day, so I guess you guys could have seen a update on that. I didn't know it would prompt you guys for an update, but
Yeah, I didn't get the prompt, but other people were reporting that they saw the small update and didn't know what the patch notes were or anything like that. But
yeah, I mean it's definitely not like a
it's not like
tiny.
TU11 or anything.
No, I think it's just some back end changes.
Well, so I had been paying attention to the feedback as well, and I think the two main pieces of feedback were one, it was like the positive side was it was funny and well written. The
Hmm.
downside, pretty much unanimously, was the frame rate.
Yeah, so the frame rate issue, I mean, it's really interesting. So like I went home on launch day and like just played it at home on my Xbox, and like I didn't hit any frame rate stuff. So we're like and like through testing here too, we didn't like see too much of that. I mean, like there'd be small dips, like from like our 30 to like 25, but nothing that would make it like unplayable. That's for sure. And of course, right, we saw some video reviews where people like hit things that were, the lag was pretty bad, enough where people would want to quit the game. And we're really just trying to pinpoint the areas, where that's occurring and, where we can optimize for that not to happen. I mean, we were doing some pretty new techniques in that world. As far as like we call it like prop streaming, I guess is where like it loads in a bunch of these props when you go into the area.
Right.
So like we're actually way above the prop count in there. But it's like basically loading these assemblies out into the world. And, as far as, so we were testing some new waters there because we wanted to make sure to add as much like detail like as possible in areas. I mean, like the brewery just looks so awesome, right? Like what they were able to do with that area. That's my favorite personal one. But, in order to do that, like, obviously they have to have like prop stuff. So, I don't know if that's that new technique that we're using is the cause of it. But we're trying to find out exactly which areas people are running into like lag. It looks like for us, it's actually the hub area where people like, it's as they're coming out of the opening, where you unlock the door and come out around. It's like when you get into by the cock and plucker, it starts slowing down for people. But we're working on pinpointing that. We have to have like right be able to reproduce, I should say, that bug and that experience in order to fix it. So that's what we're working on.
So there are a few people that are mentioning bugs in the level, and I would suggest to them rather than reporting them here, make sure you do it on the what is it called, the fly spray, the community bug tracker.
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to do it. Some are more efficient than others. So if you run into a bug, you kind of have, in my mind, there's like three ways you can communicate it to TD. So there is the forums, which a lot of people do, and that's great. And we'll grab as many of those as we can. There's a bug section on there for reporting. There's also this official support ticket. So on the left-hand side of our community page, there is a little tab. There's the support, and that'll basically send an email directly to Project Spark support. Mainly me and Brian are on there, and we'll take a look at bugs that way. And then there's also the really cool community bug tracker, which some of our community members started, which is their own bug tracking system where they try to repro it and everything and have all the steps laid out. Thanks for putting that link in there, Swarmhammer. And so that guy is probably if you're gonna give us a bug, that's honestly the fly spray, the community bug tracker is the best way to go because when it gets to us, it has like repro steps there. Like a bunch of community members have worked on it and can reproduce it, and so it's like it's been verified. We definitely like the fly spray stuff's like prioritized for sure, just because it's like it's in a format that Team Dakota can really accept, get going really fast and start working on fixing.
And I think the other point was brought up was the camera. So was the camera in the Conquer level, was it the standard advanced Conquer Brain camera, or did TD have their own custom camera?
There was definitely it's general. I think it's mainly the normal camera, but there are parts where we take the camera control away. A lot of people talk about it, like in the brewery where there's an angle, like so for that platforming area, like it does affect the camera because it's trying to point you like in set up so you can platform in a certain direction. And yeah, some people don't like having the camera control taken away. It's kind of just like it's like a Nintendo 64 thing that used to happen.
Mm.
So that's kind of where I think that complaint's coming from. But yeah, I definitely know what people are talking about. I saw Brian the other day try to go platform backwards through that area. It was pretty entertaining when like the camera was still facing the other direction.
And I guess the other point of feedback that came in was the first-person shooter, the controls were not inverted.
Yes, about the inverted. I know that's because there's nothing in game, right? So if you have like in code, there's nothing like if your settings are inverted, it wouldn't translate directly into the play experience. You would have to actually like set that up yourself, like in K code. So yeah, on that we're hoping to address that on Thursday tomorrow
Oh, cool.
as far as the inverted controls.
So it could be like a toggle or
As far
just
as,
always.
yeah, as far as my understanding, that should be in tomorrow on Thursday.
So all in
I
all,
think they got it in on time.
are we going to see more Conquer episodes? Because I remember before it was like kind of if the public supports it, but it seems like the public is pretty well
Yeah,
supporting it.
You know, I actually like am not privy to if that like decision's been made yet. At least I haven't been in a discussion where they said, "Oh yeah, for sure, episode 2 is like on the way, and this is the date that it's happening." But like I know the whole team, like in general, wants to do like would like to see more episodes and like more, content to go out there that's related to Conquer for sure. Like I can say that, like the team would love to go in that direction. So it's just about getting through like other content stuff that we're already working on other content, right? Which don't ask me about it yet.
I was about
Um,
to.
but like we're so we have plenty of stuff we're working on, but yeah, no, I think like we're definitely still like in the processing point of like Conquer, right? Like right now for sure, like making the experience for the first episode where we want it to be for everybody is like priority one, right? So that's why the fixes are going in on Thursday. Like that's what we're not starting something else until we know that's good.
So it has been a while since we've had a big non-conquer pack. I think the coding archives may have been the last one.
Recon mission was the last pack.
I don't know if I would say
I know
that's big.
you're talking like a larger, right?
Right, something that's more of a for construction or expansion of the theme type thing, rather than a few new little pieces to put in there. And today's State of Spark said that there's going to be like another 3 weeks before we start seeing any more content. Is it just going to be one content pack after 3 weeks, or is there a backlog forming?
Not sure exactly what was said in the State of Spark. I probably should read it. It got posted like right when I was getting ready to come over for the stream.
Right.
And Brian usually handles those. But
He said
as far
it had to wait until TU11 before they start releasing more content packs.
yeah, as far as my knowledge, that's totally correct. I don't want to hint on like I know I know what the next stuff that's coming and it's really exciting, but I think it's kind of early still to tell you guys what it is yet.
No, you don't have to tell
We'll
me
start.
what it is. Just
Yeah,
like, is
we'll
there more
start.
than one pack, or is it gonna be one
Oh
pack and
yeah,
then
as
another
far as like
dirge of content before we have to get more
it's
stuff?
not like there's just one. Yeah, it's not like there's just like one thing on our roadmap. I mean, there's just going to be distance between packs, like obviously, our time length between, like it won't be like one day and we drop 4 packs. But yeah. So when we hit that, like I don't know, like Conquer was like I mean the way to say it's not an interruption, but like I would think it's like I consider it like
A
an interruption
focus.
in like yeah right like definitely the team like had to transition to that was the where we were prioritizing and working on and stuff. So it did interrupt things. I guess you would think of like the normal stuff, but yeah, I don't know the stuff that's coming. I think is pretty big for sure. I think there's so I can I think of 2 different packs that we have pretty much on the agenda next, and they're both really big things. So
And for saying that, he's about to be whipped as soon as he exits the stream
oh no,
by
I can
Rad
definitely
Reed
get
or
away with
someone.
saying that they're big. Like as like I think they're pretty big deals. They're things that the community has definitely let us know that they're looking for. So
All right, and the other things we had on the docket were, let me pull them up.
yeah, I do want to talk, just real quickly on so I hope you guys got a chance to play some of the community featured Conquer stuff, and we actually added a couple worlds already in between this week. I'll make sure on Friday we'll probably try. I'm gonna hope to find a bunch of good Conquer stuff and switch out a lot of the feed as people are putting out really cool Conquer stuff. We also will. I'm gonna just start looking at more just like good normal levels too, because before that we were featuring game jam stuff. So I'll be looking at like we're gonna not be featuring game jam stuff anymore, and so it'll be kind of a blend of both. We do have to be like it's kind of a funny like consideration that you guys probably haven't thought about like, but when we feature like Conquer stuff, if you're uncurated, you can't see any of that. So we have to make sure um, that there's some things on the featured feed for curated players too. So that's kind of so like they'll always not only be Conquer stuff on the feed.
Yeah, so you said you were going to be introducing new stuff continuously now? Is that gonna be a always thing, or is it
Oh,
just
no, yeah, I think that's mainly tied with like the Conquer stuff. I think we'll be. I really like the schedule that we've been having with featured stuff. So Fridays and rotate in six and take out six, and then leave them on for 2 weeks, and it's like every Friday part of the feed changes. That balance I think's been really good. Uh, we might, who knows? It all depends, right? Like if like during Game Jam, there was so much crazy content. Like I think we switched out like the entire feed.
right?
Um, and I don't
Speaking
know,
of
we might do
which,
that too. Yeah.
the game
We
jam
might.
is gonna be finishing up soon, so you might have to clear out some Conquer levels to feature the winners.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we'll probably do a week of like the top. I guess. Well, we
X
usually keep
number.
it to 12 slots. Yeah. So yeah, top whatever number, probably six or something, and then have the rest other stuff.
We will be having the results posted soon, ish.
Yep, that's all you guys. That's all .org people. I get
Right.
to pass that on to you guys. So when will we see those
So I
results?
believe we're gonna have a post and a video available sometime around Friday, and then that'll cover like the top 50. And next Sparkcast, we will. I believe the plan is to next Sparkcast release the top 10,
Cool.
so
Sweet.
that you'll actually know who the winners of each ones are. But coming this Friday, it should be,
Top 50.
yeah, top 50, and then people will be able to start going ahead and updating their levels as they see fit.
Sweet. Looking forward to that.
And I'm the person who like put together all the scores, and they're close. Like every time somebody um, finalized their score sheet, the ranking changed. So it was very close. I mean, there was always the same like top 10 roughly, top 20,
But the
but
order was different for each person.
yeah. So each person that judged made a difference, basically.
Yeah, well, you told me that it was less than a single point difference between like the top 10 or something crazy like that.
It's something crazy like that. Yeah, some of them, I'm not going to say how many of them are separated by less than 1%, but it's several. So,
Yeah, there was so much good stuff.
yeah, someone has to
You
win.
guys are all winners.
Yeah.
So actually, there's really good prizes. I think like pretty much anywhere in the top 50 that you're getting something pretty good. So
Well, I don't know about
I mean,
that.
it dramatically like I mean, obviously like one and two you're getting like Alienware laptops.
Right. But
I mean, there's some good. I think like even I what so 11 through 50 get.
1 month premium, one upload slot, and like 10,000 credits, something like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But, man, some of the quality of the levels that are like the top 20 that didn't make the top 10, it's just like, oh, that one, like, if there weren't the levels before that were higher ranked, they're so closely related in score that I would have no problem with giving them the laptop or giving them the year's worth of DLC or whatever it was we came up with doing. So it was until September. That's the cutoff that we got because we tried to get you guys to do forever content like DLC for life, but getting the lawyers to agree what for life meant turned out to be like an impossible task.
Yeah, for life.
So the next thing on the docket, I believe, was the treasure trove. So this is
Oh
related to
yeah,
Conquer as
so
well.
we all thought the wooden sheep would be kind of a surprise for everybody. So there you go. And it was kind of it's a the way we thought about it. It's kind of like a companion piece, right? So it kind of goes along with like Conquer stuff. So it's actually the same sheep from the cock and plucker sign, and yeah, it's just a fun like little sheep. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised it wasn't actually part of the Conquer pack itself because it's related to it.
Yeah, and so like the wooden sheep would have never been in the Conquer pack. It was like made specifically for the treasure trove.
Okay, so you guys are specifically making items for the treasure trove now.
Not like on I wouldn't say like it's not like that for everything. That's for sure. But we're starting to look at like, one or two items here or there that could like go into the treasure trove, like kind of like almost like companion set like pieces like to content packs or like as they release and just other stuff like that. But yeah, like definitely. Some we can get like the treasure trove can be like a place for like unique stuff that doesn't really fit into a pack. Um, kind of things that are like surprise, like the wooden sheep, right? Like even like it's a kind of unique, different case scenario. It depends on what you want to use it for. I actually really like some stuff that's like really flat and two-dimensional. You can use it in really cool ways.
I'd like to
Uh,
have a lot more of that, to be honest.
yeah, yeah, I know you're the biggest 2D fan. I like 2D stuff too.
It's a lot
Um,
easier to make 2D games than it is to make 3D. A lot less area to fill.
mhm. Yeah, a lot more you can control for sure.
And Swarm Member mentioned two-handed weapons. There was something related to two-handed weapons in the Conker Pack, wasn't there?
There was. Oh, that was like a softball.
There you go.
Um, yeah, so in the Conker Pack, right, there's the super cool chainsaw. I think you have to, it's locked to a Conker level though, correct?
I believe it's
Uh,
level 20 or like
it
18 or
might
something like
be,
that.
it might be a level 20 unlock for Conker. Anyway, the chainsaw though is super cool. I've been playing around with it. And you're gonna be, I'm gonna elaborate and you'll laugh at me. So like the heavy attack of the chainsaw is like a two-handed like a swing basically. So it's
Right.
actually with two hands, and you could layer something on top of that to actually get like a two-handed action. I was and it actually looks wonderful. I was able to do like in night. If you tuned in for the education stream we did, not this week but the week before, we talked about pacing.
Hmm.
I kind of used those principles on the chainsaw heavy attack, and I was able to make like the perfect like lancer, like cutting down somebody. So I can do that for whenever I actually do a gears level. I was gonna actually use it in our ascension map, but it ended up being like having effects and all that stuff were potentially gonna mess something up. So I didn't maybe for a later update to that world, but it's really cool. And like I have it where like the other person starts like cowering or whatever, and then like the chainsaw is like "Rrr," and has like blood. It's fun.
And it's all characters that have that animation, not just Conker, right?
I believe
The answer is yes.
yes. All the main, all the like complex characters that we call them, which is like the different rigs. So there's like human has it, Codian has it, Brute has it, Yeti has it, like Antrol, because they share a rig. So yeah,
It's
like
been a while since we've actually had a like the Conker Pack has a lot of animations in it, but these were all made for Conker, like for the Conker level, basically. Correct?
yeah, there was definitely stuff that was in there because of that. Like you say this, and I believe it to be 100% true, right? Like when Team Dakota makes games, a lot of cool side things happen because of that. Like those tiles that came out in TU10, like the surface velocity stuff. Like
Hmm.
that only happened because we were working on Conquer and like realized that hey, this would be really helpful for anybody trying to make platforming levels and you're trying to jump on like moving objects. Um, a lot of stuff like that. You know, there's benefits when Team Dakota does that and kind of goes through the creative process and runs into limitations, and they can iterate on that. And I think it does, it improves the game, right?
So a
I
lot of the
would
talking.
just to point out to Wacko in the chat there, I would love crouching animations too. I would go crazy for crouching animations, but um, the tough so like with crouching and with like other animations, it's like because it's like a movement based one, and those are like harder to implement. So like we have brand new we have the stumble animation with Conquer, um, and that's slowly gonna get like rolled out to other characters and or who has it now? I think everybody might have it.
I don't know if that's been updated yet or not. That might have been TU10, or maybe some of them may be waiting until
I think
TU11.
I think TU10 might have had other one, but they might be waiting for TU11. I can't remember honestly. But regardless, I think maybe the human might have it right now, but he might be the only one who also has the emo. Regardless, like there's gonna be like that movement one, right, when they're stumbling around, and like a crouch one is kind of similar to that where it has to incorporate movement. It's harder, right, because would there have to be like a separate crouch attack and like all these
Right.
different things that layer it like layers on top of it. Um, right? And like our emote system and stuff is
Not set up to handle.
it's not the most flexible thing, right? So
Right, you can't. Right now, the upper body and lower body animations are not separated.
yeah. So yeah, there's yeah complications with that, but yeah, no, I would like to see. I'm an advocate on the team for sure for crashing.
All right, so here's not a softball question. The last heavily animated pack we had prior to this was the owl, and that was didn't do very
Oh, I
well.
wouldn't. I thought you were gonna say expressions because I thought expressions had
No.
a ton of animations,
Well, I'm talking about like more of, um,
like
well,
a
even
different character
yeah,
rig.
different character rig and also the flying animation, which everybody was crying for a flying animation, and then nobody bought the owl. Well, not nobody, but very few people. Well, less people bought the owl than probably like the castle pack, for example.
Hmm.
Does the lack of overwhelming desire for the owl influence the lack of animations we've seen from other packs?
Well, like, I mean, I wouldn't say there actually. I mean, I kind of argue that there's been quite a bit of like animation work with like
But it
the
wasn't. There aren't packs that are focused just on animations aside from the emotions pack. But even that's a lot of icons and stuff.
yeah, I mean, right, yeah, the way that there's not really an animation pack. I mean, I guess expressions like fell into that as like emotes. But like, yeah, a lot of animation stuff's included with other things, right? So a lot of things are like equipped based. So like brute attacks, like animations came along when they brought the blacksmith hammer. Like they're kind of packaged with other things, same way that like Conker has his brand, the bouncy rig, the Conker rig, the birdie rig, like all of those have like different types. Of like animations that go along with it. And so that is kind of where there really isn't like a separate, they're tied to other things. So like regards to like, yeah, the owl pack though. So yeah, the flying was like a huge request. And then, yeah, I would definitely argue it's like not the most popular of our packs. Partly, I don't know, it just depends, right? Like it's more of like a side piece thing, and like you have to have a pretty specific use case for the owl. Like I really think they're really cool to just drop in your world to give it some life, and they're like flying around, and they just have that really default brain that just works. They're really good for that. And you can have like certain play experiences that have it, but it's more like a unique case system. It's not as versatile as like a troll or where everybody wants this really cool enemy in their world, and the owl's like just a unique situation for that. Um,
But why'd you
but
guys go with like a owl instead of like a hawk or a wyvern or a dragon or something?
well, that decision was definitely before my time,
You didn't go
but
into it. You didn't push them for
I
this
would,
knowledge.
yeah. But I mean, I think the owls, um, I mean, it falls under like the wildlife stuff. Like, yeah, you could do a hawk, or you could do, I don't know. I think the owl's like a cool character. I don't see why like an
Girls
owl.
like owls because they're cute. Even though they're birds of prey, they're still
Don't
kind of
guys like owls too? They're
kawaii.
like wise, and they can be kind of good or bad depending. They're kind of like this like you can make up your mind. There's like a lot of choices with that, and you could do the same for a falcon or like whatever else you want to. But I don't know. It just depends. I like the owl.
But is it
I
going to be
didn't
like
buy it
hindering
right away
any
because then I
like
rushed to
spider
get.
packs from coming out or um, other like custom rigs like a female brute or a tall female goblin, what have you?
Yeah, no announcements on that front for characters yet.
Yet. Okay.
I mean, I will say so. Like, this is kind of my like one thing I do want to share when we're. This is like a good time to talk about this. Like it characters are like obviously one of the high. They're like really high cost for the team.
So
Like
many
if you think of
animations
like
in
dev
there.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, dev time because there's like all these animations attached to them, and there's like character studio about like clothing. And that actually for the team, the character studio part. I didn't realize this, but I like found out like doing a character studio item is like way tougher to do versus like even just a single prop.
What's a
Um,
character studio item? Like something like a piece of clothing?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So like a piece of hair or a face or like clothing on the person and all that. Like those are actually way more intensive than I realized. And I think like a lot of our core creators, um, have kind of moved on to like using a lot more attachments to make unique characters and stuff, and they don't really rely too much on the character studio. But like that's actually the character studio is really important for like a lot of the more people getting brand new into Spark and like wanting to switch stuff out with. It's like really easy, right? You can just put clothes on and take clothes off. Um, so we definitely there's a lot of good use out of character studio, but like characters just in general are like just they're intensive. So like I think like with the owl pack, right? Like it comes out and like its price is like whoa for some people, but it has like this brand new character in it, and like the community has there's like this more view where like props are super valuable because they can like mix and do a lot of things with them, which is really good and that's awesome. But there's also like a lot of good things that come with the character. It's just not as obvious, right? I
Right,
kind of
because it's all bundled in one package where you can't say
Mhm.
you can't separate out the animation so much as you can separate a prop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And people like, right, obviously props are like way more modular. So I think that already like gives people a lot more ideas, right? Like characters. I mean, you obviously do things with characters, but you can't do as much flexibility. Like they're set with their animations and everything like that.
So are we going to see like the weapon animations themselves? They're also a little more tricky because when you do one weapon animation, you have to do weapon animation for every single humanoid character. So when people are asking for like two-handed weapon attacks or dual wielding weapon attacks, is that like a disproportionate amount of effort to produce, or
Yeah, I mean, so what happens, right, as we keep adding content to the game, there's more things that we have to also do. The way to think about it is it's like maintenance, right? Your catalog gets bigger, but all of those things carry forward in the game and it keeps adding on the repertoire. And like when we want to add something, we want it to be consistent and like hopefully work as much as possible like across characters in different spaces, right? So if we want to bring in like two-handed attacks or what have you, we would want to update as many of the characters as possible to utilize that. We wouldn't want to just give it to human male and be done with it. It would want to, we would want to roll it out to everybody.
it's also similar to like the clothing themselves. Like when I first started using Project Spark, I was hopeful that all characters would eventually have options to all clothing, because that way we would be able to have it would be much more befitting to like RPGs where every character can wear different clothing and it'll appear on their character.
Hmm.
Whereas now it feels like a lot of the work is being put into individual character models as opposed to all character models.
Yeah, like the versatility. That's like, yeah, I mean, it's with the clothing that we have, like, I mean, it's fitted to like that body type. So, like, if you try to put a night suit on our male brute, like, it would be horrendous clipping, and you basically have to rebuild the entire armor to actually fit for that model. So that's why it's like the character studio is so tied to that actual character. It's because there's just so much work to go into actually if you were gonna do it, it would actually have to be something different. It's not like a clean like toggle. Yes, go to this character. Toggle.
Right.
It's
Um,
not clean like that.
I did remember seeing. I believe I wrote a blog on this already, but for EverQuest, I believe it was EverQuest. I don't remember which one.
Landmark.
I don't know if it was Landmark or
Landmark's the creation tool.
no, I
Next.
understand. I'm just I can't remember which one they used this. Maybe even for Lineage that they started using this tool, where they had an automated piece of software they developed, proprietary software that would resize and reshape any clothing they design so it would fit any character model rather than having a unibody approach.
Oh, too
And
bad that's proprietary.
well, here's the thing. They're not under Sony anymore, so and they're Daybreak Studios, so why don't you guys make friends with them?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can lease it out or something. Save you
Yeah.
guys a lot of
That sounds really nice. That's cool that I would do that.
yeah. I was hopeful that you guys would invest the effort into it too, but it seems like you guys have more than enough on your plate at the moment.
We always have so much on the plate. It's kind of sad, but um, yeah, no, any like that's the thing, right? Like I like coming from like the community perspective, I can definitely be like understanding of that, like right, like you want like the same way that people ask for like modular props, right? Because they want things that they can change and it's easy, like they're supposed to be like worked and played around with to work in new and interesting ways. Like that's the whole point of being modular. Like,
Right.
and like thinking that way from like the beginning of how everything would be structured, right? Like obviously an animation system that separates upper body from lower body would be way more modular and allow people to you could like, have a guy like face backwards from the way his feet works, or you could even like split a character in half, or like, so many there's a lot of different use cases, right? Or
I'm more
like
interested in like being able to walk while I'm swinging a sword.
yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly. Walk and swing a sword, or fall. Yeah, like crouch and swing a sword, like and keep it independent. Like there's a lot of things like when I think retroactively back, like outside of the system that we currently have, that it would have been like it would have been sweet if it was set up that way. And right there, it's just harder to go back and undo things or change them. It's not that it isn't. It's just like it's almost like that there's things that are like in place and it's just harder to undo it because the mold's like already there. And you have a backlog of characters that only work this way now. So like trying to go like it's way, way difficult to like go back and change how everybody works. Like pretty much impossible.
I do look forward to the day where we can do those sort of things though, or we'll have distinct attack animations so that they can actually fit into like a 2D world as opposed to the whirlwind of strikes we have at the moment, where the blade just flies. You see the blade path, and it's everywhere. I'm not sure anyone who attacks like that, but in Spark, that's the way it is.
This is an effective attack. Yeah!
Yeah, maybe not so much, but if
Get away, get away. That's how I do it.
I believe that actually. But if the animators actually want to like go ahead and make distinct animations from attacks, so that you can make a side scroller top down like Legend of Zelda, and you swing the sword like 45 degrees or 90
Yeah.
degrees.
hmm
Yeah, that'd be great. Or like ActRaiser, or you know, pretty much anything that's a 2D game where you just see the distinct attack area of the sword, so you know what's going to happen when you swing the sword. You don't just think he's in the general area, so I'm going to hit him.
Yeah. I will say, if you're doing a top down or like a 2D game, I think there's a lot more flexibility that what you can pull off and get away with Connect, like for that animation kind of stuff. Because
I
when
hadn't
you take
tried
it,
integrating damage mechanics with the Kinect, so
yeah, you could take a look at what's that Game Jam level that did a lot of Connect attacks. Um, so that could be like a reference.
I don't know
Which
which
one
one.
is that? It's the one where you control uh three different characters and they're kind of it's like a
Metalcore?
yeah, metalcore, right? And they have like these different like connect attacks. But
Oh,
like I mean it's harder to pull off when you're like in a 3D space, but like you can trick I think with the camera and like not you could kind of trick to make it actually look pretty good. It's almost kind of like the what's the 2D game that had like climbing and all that. Like it actually looked pretty
Kingdom in Peril.
yeah. I mean that actually looked pretty good too in 3D, but I think you're able to you know, you'd be able to pull it off pretty bad, not too bad, I think, in top down or 2D.
So tomorrow you guys are going to do a designer stream.
We are. I'm really stoked about that. I love these streams when we get people from the team on. They're way more intelligent than I am anyway. I won't speak for Brian, but they're way smarter than me. But we're gonna have Matt in here for a bit to talk about the Conquer design and big not character. I should the design of the hub area in Conquer's Big Reunion. And then we're going to also have Spencer come in and talk about the brewery and basically just all the art that went in there and about creating that like environment. So should be really informative. They always give really good insight on into like the way that they approach environment creating and like the way ways to use our props in super unique ways. So I'm planning on learning something on the stream tomorrow, and I think you guys would too for sure.
So have we met Spencer before on the streams, or is this his first time?
I'm trying to think. I know I have not been on a stream with Spencer yet. Spencer's really cool if the community hasn't met him yet. So you guys have met Matt before. He was the
Right.
gentleman who came in and talked about doing the first 10 minutes of Bad Fur Day. Um, and he's great. He's an awesome environmental artist. And he's award winning. That's an inside joke, but on the stream we
Oh,
there's an
that's right.
award. Yeah. Probably people didn't get that joke as much, but
No.
it was because there was a stream that Matt came with uh Jeb
Jed.
Jed, yeah, sorry. And they both came on stream, and I think the way that they presented it was like, here's Jed, our award-winning artist, and also here's Matt.
Yeah, yeah, because Jed had just won the was it the Pixel Award?
Yeah, the Pixel Award. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, so that was why. So he's also an award-winning artist. Matt is.
Technically, which
Yeah,
award doesn't matter, right? As long as he's won a award
yeah. Well,
or
I
an
I
award.
won
Sorry.
a award for little league baseball, so that was cool. I got the ball game or ball of the game, and it was all signed. It was pretty cool.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yay, T-ball back when I was 6.
Oh, one thing we missed when we were talking about the Conker feed.
Hmm.
So, how when is the Conker feed actually going to go live in the game? What's gonna? Well, I guess it's obvious what's gonna be in the Conker feed, but when are we going to see that go live and whatnot?
The fixes?
No, the Conker feed.
Oh, Conquer feed. Well, we haven't decided because so in order to do like our feeds, we want to not have just a ton of feeds. So we're gonna look at probably replacing one. We haven't quite nailed down which one we're gonna replace yet, but it'll be one of the least active um
Featured
feeds
achievement
that nobody,
hunters.
huh?
The featured achievement hunter feed. Get rid of that.
Well, I mean, I won't like pretend like I to me like that was all set up before, and I don't know why we have two different ones because there's like two different, there's an achievement hunter regular and achievement hunter featured.
The reason
um
for that, I believe this was Mike's explanation for it was the featured ones were the ones that used the tag by themselves that they self moderated to go into the achievement hunter feed, and where they're given an additional feed to show that off. But I mean, if anything, the achievement hunters have shown that they're trying to avoid being filtered in that feed. So
yeah, I think, yeah, the way it works is like there's one that does it automatic, and then there's the other one that we place people in, and the automatic one is like it's the featured one, so it's higher placement, so it encourages like using the correct tags and everything like that for your achievement feat levels.
well, if anybody out there has a suggestion for which feed should be gotten rid of, go ahead and suggest it to them. And maybe even the top downloaded of 7 days, because I don't see that having a whole lot of distinction from the top rated of the last 7 days.
Yeah, I think there's a good discussion for sure about like which feeds people get the most use out of. Especially now like that we don't like just land everybody directly in New and Rising, that you can actually like pick the feed you want to go into. That's opened up a lot of people are downloading things from other feeds now. So it's important that they're kind of all in place and in really, in really all good things coming from that. So yeah, we're gonna definitely be looking at those and like how they're calculating. We don't want any overlap, right? They all should be like, this is where to go if this is what you're looking for.
Is there actual reason for the surprise me feed? I don't know if anybody's actually been recommended to go there.
To be honest, it's really funny. I don't use it like all the time. I remember one night I was like, I'm gonna just try this, and so that was like one of the best feeds to like find like little gems of levels, the gem.
So that's where you want to go to find random levels that just fell through the cracks and turned out
Yeah,
to actually be really
it was
good.
that because older like stuff that's older, especially like when it falls off the feed, it's a lot harder to find. Especially like you don't want to just put random words into the search engine, and especially if it's like not tagged or different things like that. So the surprise me feed, I don't know all the specifics on what it pulls to look for, um, but the surprise me feed will actually pull out from like a deeper pool of levels, and yeah, no, it was surprising how good the surprise me feed was when I used it.
Well, here's an idea. How about a like transition to the next thing? But the community competitions. Why not have a community competition to find great levels through the Surprise Me feed?
I thought about that actually. I thought it would be really cool, like, because like our community competitions don't like, and these. So let me first explain. So we're starting to go toward like small, like little fun community competitions that are smaller than like scope of game jam, and there's just some basically there's credits for participation, but it's the community getting together and just making cool stuff. So like one that's going on right now is champion, make your own champion,
Hmm.
and some really cool work's being done actually on that as people like kind of make their own leveling systems and like these unique characters, and they have like the UI in the corner. It's really cool. I hope people like take that and then like incorporate them into like their own champion pickers or something. That would be so cool. Um,
Mine was the best one, by the way.
yeah.
Still
It
waiting for my
felt
badge.
a little overpowered. But so for the champion, that's like the current community competition that's happening. But we're opening it up, and we actually put out a forum post kind of about like what are the specifications to like run a community competition. We don't want to like overflood and have tons going on at the same time, but they can be. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a create thing, right? It could be finding and surfacing like really really cool gem levels that you didn't think had enough attention that they should have gotten, like finding a really good level that has less than like 100 downloads and it was from 3 months ago. Like that would be a really cool competition in my eyes. There's tons of different ones we've been talking about doing. Even TD, Team Dakota can come up with some and put them out there, but like giving like speech bubbles and text or whatever, and then you have to like create the scene that uses those and without changing anything, and it could be kind of ambiguous and fun as people like make up what's actually happening in the scene. Um, I don't know. There's a lot that can happen like with those, but I think we were really stoked to see what came out of like the pirate DLC one, just and that was like totally just community driven, and then some of the other ones. Or like in the with the champion one too. So we're glad to get like more of an official like stance on that out there, and really encourage everybody to participate and also like think about ones that they'd like to do themselves.
And these won't be what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Overlapping with the game jams. Like it's not one or the other.
Probably not. I mean, they are community driven, like as far so like I mean, if people are like all gun ho and want to do this competition, whether there's a game jam on or not, like I wouldn't be opposed to having like a side thing going on, especially like a right like a if you're doing a game jam like. Those are really intense, and people are going to be working 3 weeks on their like level. I mean, I wouldn't if you're doing a create side of competition, like asking people to devote their time to that during a game jam, you probably won't get good participation. But anytime afterwards, like, sure.
Well, I mean, if the competition is set up in a way that it will only take a few hours to complete and be put in a legitimate submission, then I think that's fine to be overlapping with a game jam. Whereas a game jam would be a more intense 3 week period. The community competition could be a few hours, have some fun, blow off some steam while you're not work on something other than your game jam entry.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about, and this is kind of just putting it out there to what the community like thinks about. So I was like inspired kind of by, and I think Wacko's in chat.
Yes.
Yeah. So he made Battle Grid
Hmm.
for Game Jam, and he wanted to do like a multiplayer tournament, and I don't think there was that much participation like over the weekend on it, but I actually think like multiplayer competitions like that, or like creating a game and like having like a day or whatever to like do multiplayer sessions with people would be super cool.
I guess
And
you'll
like
just have
another
to give more rewards for participating in those types of things then.
right 10, yeah, everybody gets credits.
A hundred
Uh,
thousand credits. You
right,
get participation that way.
yeah,
To the winner, you can do it that way.
yeah. But like so those like multiplayer things like that's actually really cool. Like me and Brian, we don't have any plans yet, and we'll let you know if there is anything. But we thought it'd be cool to do like a, you know, play against Team Dakota like multiplayer game and do like on our like Ascension Conquer Ascension map or something. We were thinking about that.
Yeah, I would. I'd be involved with that now that I have a Xbox One.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I think encouraging like, because I don't know, I had like a great time doing like I didn't like do very much multiplayer creating or playing before I started working on this multiplayer Conquer game, and it was me and Brian had a really good time. At least I did anyway. And it was it was kind of a blast actually, and like it was just like it opened like my eyes to like this whole other dynamic that you could do in Project Spark, like these games, like it's really powerful to think you could create something and then like do that in the same space as like another player. Like it was kind of mind blowing to me. It was almost like a golden eye, like when you're used to think like on when I grew up on Nintendo 64 and you're
It
like
needs big head mode and paintball mode though.
you're right. Yeah, it should. But like when I was growing up, like you just play like single player games, and like all of a sudden you play your first like multiplayer game. You're like, what? I can like interact with like my brother and shoot him in game. Like it's kind of crazy. And
Yeah, I
uh,
think actually even some Atari games had multiplayer, like Antler and Sea and Combat and those games. Yeah, those are actually
yeah,
some of my favorite games. Actually, now that I think about it, because
yeah.
I would have competitions with my brother, and whether it be a racing game like Top Gear or um, Combat or anything really, Pong. And I know you have a twin. I have an older brother, and basically the way things would work with me and him was I would learn the game really quickly, then I'd teach it to him, and then he would beat me.
He just is naturally like really good.
Well, as soon as I tell him, he's just like, "Oh, okay, now I win."
That's
But
hilarious.
if he were to try to learn alongside me, then I'd have a chance. But me being trying to be a little suck up and trying to impress my brother, I'd be like, "This is how you play," and then he'd be like, "Cool, die." Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so growing up, like I have also a couple older brothers, but one in particular like gamed with us a lot when we were younger. And then I had my twin brother, so we had like tons of like video gaming, like multiplayer, like GoldenEye days and like
Mm-hmm.
Smash Brother days, like
Mario Kart.
yeah, oh my gosh, those memories are crazy. Those are and you get angry and you pull the person's controller out, like, and then all of a sudden that virtual fight turns into like real brother brawl, and you're like, ah.
Yep.
Yep, that happened all the time. But I don't know, me and my or like the my favorite is the quit out of a Smash Brothers match like as fast as possible because you're just pissed.
I didn't have to do that one.
Yep, me and my brother would be like, if you got like a bad, you'd like we would do these like 10 stock or 10 life matches, which, go on for a little bit. But if you like started really bad, like, the person had like two lives up on you, like within the first like 2 minutes, you'd be like, I'm not doing this. And you just quit out of it. And then the other one's like, you can't do that. I was winning. And then you start the scuffle.
Yep. That's what brothers do.
Exactly.
So, Conker was the first IP. Is there any thoughts of what you would like personally for the
Oh
next
man.
IP?
Well, like, I mean, there's a lot of really cool ones. I would like to see something that it's tough, right? So Conquer was like a good one because I think it fits like the third person platforming fits with like the generic, more of like the default.
That's why I'm hoping the next one won't be a third-person
Yeah, and
action adventure.
that's what I'm going for too. I hope whatever IP we do next is not third person platforming. And that's mainly because I want to like challenge us and the team to make a genre like that's really good. Because like yeah, Champions Quest and like in Conquer and stuff, they like revolve around third person adventure,
There's
which
a
a
lot of
lot
overlap, yeah.
wants to. Yeah, so yeah, I would love to see it in a different genre. Whether that's like a shooter, whether that's and like right, I'm realistic. Like we're part of Microsoft, so it'd probably be a Microsoft I owned IP. Yeah, Gears of War. That might be my favorite one actually to
Isn't
see.
Age of Empires part of
It
Microsoft?
is, yeah. So there's like 90 or 100 different IP that falls under like under Microsoft. So everything from like Halo, Gears of War, Forza, Minecraft now, all the way through like Rise of Nations and yeah, and exactly like Age of Empires, which I love to death.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to a strategy game being made by you guys, just to show us like how it's done, basically.
Yeah.
Because there's been
So
some
so
attempts, but it's not as good as what I think you guys would produce.
Yeah. Oh, as far as like Team Dakota making one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since I don't know anything, I'll freely talk about it since I can't leak anything. But there was like a tweet or whatever from I think it was Phil Spencer, and he was like saying how there's like a strategy game, I think, like some RTS for like for Xbox or whatever coming.
Hmm.
Not no like dates or anything like that, and we don't know which one it would be. But I don't know, like the three big ones that Microsoft puts out is either Rise of Nations, Age of Empires, or Halo Wars. Um, and if like one of those came out again, oh, I'd be so stoked.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I don't know if there's one or which one or anything like that. So I have no problem pretending like I don't know. I see a question in chat what IP is, and that's just intellectual property.
Basically a franchise.
Exactly. So like you would think of like Captain America is an IP and like
Mega
his
Man is an
universe and
IP.
yeah.
Metroid, whatever.
Yeah, so it's like the characters that you like fall in love with. So if you think IP, so like already Disney owns about 75% of all the IP that you probably like. So there's that.
Yeah. And there's also that goes into the whole
Casino
copyright
all their
stuff, which is insane. Um, like copyright was originally made so that people who invested the time to develop a product or intellectual property would have time to remake the money that they spent investing to create it, and then it would become open to everybody. Which I forget the term for that, but anyway, somewhere along the line, they started greasing the pockets of the politicians, just continually saying, "Nope, you can keep your hold of the IP forever. You have copyright forever." And it wasn't supposed to be that way. So it's supposed to be public property, basically, after X number of years. But it's never happening anymore. So that's why
interesting.
we have Nintendo having Mario, and Sonic was originally Sega, and then they started branching out everywhere.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting because when I think of like IP, like yeah, and there's like the point of like, like I don't see how like IP going public domain could be like a bad it could be a really awesome thing, right? Obviously to be able to get different
Well, I mean, Alice in Wonderland is public domain.
yeah.
So that's why
Um
you have Alice, Madness Returns, and stuff like that.
yeah. So you would get like a ton of different things out of it. It's interesting because I when I think of IP, it's also there's so much branding involved, right? Like when you think Mario like is Nintendo, and there's like this identity crisis if like Mario drops off and doesn't become associated with Nintendo anymore. And like it's interesting because like the IP itself is like the branding of it. And if you're investing so much, like if you get to keep the Nintendo part of your brand because it's like your actual name and like what you go with, like I can see with the argument why an IP stays with you because your identity is so linked to it and you spent all this time like building a franchise, right? Like your name is what made Mario what it is. And then you're what it's going to go to public domain, and then like every single mobile person makes a Mario game, and that basically Mario kind of loses all meaning because there's crappy, there's really crappy games that get released, and like it just becomes like this passed around character. Um, so I don't know. I actually kind of think like there's some really great things that would come out of public domain stuff, but like IP in that kind of way, like I don't know. I think there's like a lot of risk actually there too.
Well, imagine if automobiles, had been copyrighted, and then never the automobile, the engine, all that stuff was always copyrighted. No one ever could replicate it. They could never do their own. So there was only Ford, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are like engineering things. I think all fall under. They're like that's like a different type of.
No, but just generally speaking.
Yeah,
Or I mean,
because like I do think
iPhone
engineering
has
stuff.
the trademark on the rectangle with curved edges.
Yeah, I
So
know. Yeah, and those I think with technical stuff like that though, like it's tougher right with like design decisions or like characters and like these like fantasy things that you create. But like I think engineering and more technical stuff's way easier to say you get 17 years and then you lose the trademark or whatever it is. And I think they do a better job about actually enforcing that where it does go to public domain faster because like an engineering concept, right? Like you have things that like it's so efficient or whatever, like things have to rely on that to even be in the same league. And so I mean it's different with like Mario. Am I really close to the camera now? Oh, I didn't realize I was starting to lean up that close.
you were, but it's fine.
There you go. Now we are in normal.
Now we have our
Now
personal
it's like
space.
sitting across the dinner table from everybody.
Sure, that's what just happened. Yeah. But
Sorry.
so, is the next IP likely to just be coming from Microsoft, or is it possible that it could branch out and be independent property that's not affiliated with a company already? Like Marvel is associated with Disney, which is associated with uh, Disney Infinity, which is a kind of a rival. So,
Yeah, I mean, no announcements on that yet or anything.
but your personal
I
opinion,
would, I would assume, I would, aw, somebody said something about my nose hair. I don't have nose hair. I have a beard. Anyway, like I would not expect the IP to be probably outside of Microsoft's IP, but I don't know. Um, I mean, I can say like right now we're pretty committed to like the Conquer and like, in like episode 2 and stuff. Like there isn't like a current like IP that's coming like yet, right? This is the first one, so we'll see if um, about future plans, but
all right. And let's see what else is left on the
that's fair
agenda.
to say, I think, right?
So, Project University of Alberta. What the heck is this?
Oh, yeah. So, University of Alberta incorporated Project Spark in one of their college courses, which is really exciting for us, just like as, because Project Spark 2 is like an educational tool. And we see it like as that, as well as obviously just something we all love and like to go home and do. But there is definitely a place for it in education. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to type this real quick about saying how I'm sensitive to my nose hairs. Um, anyway, so University of Alberta. So yeah, so like Project Spark has a place like in education, and I've been trying to do quite a bit of that. Like so, we'll be this summer again. Project Spark will be part of like the Microsoft Store summer camps, where kids get to go learn about like Microsoft stuff and about like development and getting interested in tech stuff. And so Project Spark's gonna be part of that experience, which is really cool. They pretty much piloted it last year, and then but yeah, so like a college campus like deciding that this is like a really good thing for them to use and like teach kids about game development. I guess they're not kids, young adults. I'm the same age as like college kids. I think that's great. That's awesome that we got that, have that relationship. So I actually today, I'm wearing my, hopefully that angle is good. I'm wearing my Project Spark shirt because I went and demoed, and did a demo for a conference here called E2, and it's a bunch of educators that come over, but as well as like I made a presentation and did a demo for Project Spark to like 30 high school students that came all across the world actually, and it was really cool. Like even this group came from Chile, and they were telling me how they were actually using Project Spark like at their school, and I had no idea that they were actually doing that. But yeah, I got to show off Project Spark to them. We got to play the Mighty Pooh boss fight after I made sure that it didn't offend anybody.
Yeah, I can imagine why that would be some concern.
That was super educational. That was the most educational thing that they're gonna get out of it.
Well, there was the chocolate starfish. That's news to most people.
Chocolate, yeah, right. It's so funny when, yeah, that's actually pretty terrible, and it's funny when people don't realize that they're, yeah.
Mm,
Anyway, chocolate starfish.
indeed. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about this week, or anything that the people in the chat want to bring up?
Um, as far as like me, so one thing is now that so for me and Brian, Conker definitely took up like a ton of time, and there was a lot of focus on it. Like there was a lot of videos that we were working on. We still actually have a video or two coming out, but we're obviously like transitioning out of the big launch of Conker. There'll be a lot more like things that we hope to do and kind of get regular. Like I still haven't been able to start the tutorial series that I want to do, like the Let's Create. I already have it like planned out, but I haven't been able to record those. I'm shooting for like Monday next week for the first video, but we'll see. So there's that. There's just a lot of asks and stuff that like the community competition is something we wanted to put out there, but there wasn't time until Conquer launched. So a lot of those those kind of things that people either feel like were neglected or hadn't gotten started yet and stuff. Like this is the time that we're getting back into our normal flow, I think, of stuff.
Alrighty.
So there's that. Anything from chat?
A lot of bickering, which I don't appreciate. But aside from that, there was a question about. I'm not sure what that's about, to be honest. Something about Tumblr, and I don't follow Tumblr, so I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on in chat. I can't really tell. I haven't. I've been trying to pay attention, but yeah. Anyway,
So,
easier,
so
easier way to level champions.
DLC, like I mean UGC.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, the intention is to eventually allow champions to level up in UGC, and that's still definitely like on our roadmap.
For
So
those who don't know, it was briefly available for like 4 hours.
yeah,
And
people I think powered exploited it and powered through like every level.
very
or something.
much so. I exploited the heck out of that. Like,
Yep.
it was so easy to set the health of all enemies to 1, and then have the push a brain onto the champion to deal 1 damage to all enemies, and then
We're done.
yeah,
Then put in 1,000 enemies.
pretty much, or
Yeah.
have a continuous spawner for them, and
Well, and that's you guys are the reasons why I had to get taken out.
pretty much, I mean,
Right.
exactly why we had to be taken out, because you saw.
That's me. I would on my personal account. I would do that too. Probably.
But the problem was that the leveling had to do with both achievements and milestones and goals, right? So there was credits and basically money tied into people exploiting this.
Yeah.
So that's why it hasn't been made super easy yet, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is just a lot tied with it, so we don't want anybody to be able to just do that like crazy. But we do want to make it easier, and we want you to be able to do what you want when you level. Like, and so I think opening it up to UGC and like being able to play like UGC with champions, like you can actually go do something different every day and still level your champion versus like replay Crossroads or replay Champions Quest.
Right.
So I think that's a huge difference. So yeah, hopefully we get that in game soon. I think that's pretty close actually.
Would you be guys be willing just to do like a 100 token boost to your individual champions or to all champions, so that you can just say,
I don't think anybody at Team Dakota would be comfortable with that. That's like one of those like that sounds so like brand hurting. That sounds like almost like a mobile game with a pop-up like, "Oh, you're done playing for the day. Would you like to purchase more?" Well, I could make a joke about, "Would you like to purchase more Spark Time?" But I'm not going to do that.
too late.
But a pop-up of like
Well,
like,
it doesn't
"Oh,
have to be a
you want
pop-up,
a
just
quick way to level?"
it doesn't have to be a pop-up, but I mean, people want the items associated with the characters, but they don't actually want to invest the time.
I know, but like,
Because it's $1. It's $1, but is my time worth is like 5 hours of my
like
time
the
worth
option would
$1?
be there,
Yes.
but I mean, there's a reason why like you don't buy Dragon Age, so you can purchase like unlocking all areas immediately and also being like the overpowered level. Like it's about
Right, but we're
having
talking about champions here. We're not talking about Dragon Age.
well, I know, but I'm comparing it to that like
You
same
shouldn't.
experience. Like you don't like that whole point is it's supposed to be fun to play the champion.
But they're
and-
not.
I know.
Ah, gotcha. You're
Well,
fired.
I mean, like I hear that all the time from the community. Like I'm not gonna like skirt around it or whatever. That like, I mean, it just depends on who you are. Like I think a lot of the core community, right, they're like into the create experience, and it's not about playing, as much, right? Like, but it just depends who you are. So like, there's definitely an audience that plays Project Spark for the champions and really likes the champions. So there you go. I'm laughing at chat because they're quoting me. No, no.
No,
Don't take it. At
no.
least set it in chat versus like typing it because I got Mike Lisco in trouble when I screenshotted him confirming dual wielding.
It'll be there sometime, I'm sure. Well, but dual wield, you mean you can attach a weapon to the character's left hand?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's funny. So, anything else from chat, guys?
No. Oh, so one question I wanted to ask, but I forgot until just now. When's the next game jam? Is there like a timeline? I mean, this one isn't even technically done yet, but when's the
Yeah,
next
we're
one?
not gonna. I don't think we're gonna talk about that. There should be breaks between them too. I don't think it should be like game jam, game jam, game jam, game jam.
But we
Um,
like game jams. We like free
I love game
stuff.
jams. I'll be the first one to be like game jams are like, oh my gosh, this last game jam. Oh, so like this weekend, I played through. So
All
like
of them.
I was part of the judging, yeah, and I was late on actually judging it, and Moose probably thinks I'm crazy because of I spent like a lot of time on each level.
You
Um,
did.
yeah, so I probably spent 16 hours playing Project Spark this weekend and played like 50 plus, no, like almost 70 game jam levels. And holy mackerel, it was they're so good. There's so many that are so good. Oh my gosh, I was having my wife was kind of randomly coming into the room and out of the room, and she like, what is this? Is just crazy. I mean, she used to see the stuff like that was in beta, and like just the quality of stuff that comes out now, it's so great. So I don't know. I love game jams. So maybe we should do game jam, game jam, game jam right in a row. But I think everybody would like, let's give time for people to get, celebrate the winners and don't feel like that pressure all the time either. But there'll definitely be more game jams. I'd love. I think it's one of the best things that have been coming out. So
So on that note, I think we are done for the evening. People are posting away all the requests that they'd like to make. Um, and I'm sure they'll listen to them. And if you want those to be taken more seriously, I guess post them in the forums and get other people to back them. That's probably the best way to support the ideas, and so people can.
yeah,
Ranking is important.
forums are nice because Twitch chat scrolls away and then we can't ever see it again. So forums are great for posting it so everybody can read it and comment about, whether that's a good idea or not a good idea. So yeah, love the forums for that. And I think that's probably it then,
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to. There was a bug that was rather interesting that Infrared put up, but he can post that on the forums himself. All right.
Okay.
So with that, good
No.
night, everyone, and thank you for joining us, Brian and sorry, Brian.
More handsome version.
I don't know about that. You're not. You're no. What's his name? The
Steve
guy.
McQueen.
No, no. I don't. I only know who Steve McQueen is because of the Pawn Stars show.
Oh yeah. See, that show can be educational.
It really can. No.
Once every never.
So thank you, Zach, for joining us. Thomas for joining us,
Yep.
and
Yeah, the whole community team. They're actually like some like yeah, they're hiding on the sides. You can't see them, but
I'm
they're
sure.
they're holding cue cards.
Yeah. Well, I really look forward to actually hearing more details about the next content pack is post Conker because we've been looking forward to this for a while now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll
Well,
hear some
a
news
lot of
this week.
we've been looking forward to Conquer too. So
Some people. Yeah. Though I did make a post on the hidden value of Conker, including his tail.
yeah, right. The tail's cool. Tail physics. Yo.
Nothing like it in Spark. Well, before, so, but there is now. So there could be flags and stuff like that. Who knows? Or
Right.
maybe even robes. Okay, fine.
Wow.
Uh, anyway, so with that,
That
we're
was
gonna
so
sign off, and we'll see you guys next week. And Thomas, we'll see you tomorrow on your stream at 3 o'clock Pacific.
yeah, please tune in for that. That's gonna be a really good one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty good, but that's a really good one.
And I'll
So
be posting the recording onto .org after it's put up onto YouTube. All right. So good night, everyone. See you guys next week.
sounds good. See you guys.
All right. So we're off. Since I'm under NDA, could you tell me what the next content pack is?
I'm gonna wait until I can see that or make sure we're not live.
All right.
I'm
All
not
right.
falling for that again.
Not again. Okay.